Welcome back to Cert Plus. This is lesson 1.1. We're looking at some of the basics as a warm-up lesson. So if you find these questions here are very, very simple, don't be afraid to skip on to the next lesson. So looking at a term to start off with, a term is something like 4x squared. Now the term has a couple of parts to it, and it will help if you understand what these parts are called. So the 4 is the coefficient, the x is the variable, and the 2 is the exponent. So the variable is the one part we don't know, and the number before that variable is the coefficient, and then up in the power on the variable is the exponent. So the exponent can also be called an index, or you could also call it a power. So they're the three parts to the terms. Now if we look at how these terms can interact together, if you have the same family, such as x squareds, or if we have x cubes or x to the power of 4, they can all interact together with a plus and a minus. So they need to be in the same family to interact together. So these two can, that's going to be 7x squared. These two, we've got 3 minus 5, that's minus 2, and then they're in the same family. So that means we can interact them together. That's minus 2x squared. We got a plus here, but it's an x squared and an x to the power of 4. So they can't be added together because they're not in the same family. So that's just 2x squared plus 2x to the power of 4. They can't interact together. Here again we have an x squared and x to the power of 4. That can't be simplified because they're not in the same family. So it's important to note that you have to have the same power, and that's what really defines a family group. Now when we're multiplying or dividing, it doesn't matter if the family is the same. You can always interact them together. So over on the right hand side here, we've got two base numbers, the x and the x. So because we have these two base numbers, we're going to add the powers together. And this is when you're multiplying two whole terms, you're going to add the powers together if it's the same base number. So we got x and x, you can add the powers together. That's going to be x to the power of 5. Now note if that was x squared by maybe y to the power of 3, we couldn't say that's x to the power of 5 because you have different base numbers here. Okay, it's only because we have an x and an x that you can add the powers together. Here, you're going to deal with the numbers or the coefficients and then the variable powers. Okay, so the coefficients, you just say it's 2 by 4 is going to give us an 8. And then you're going to add the powers together on these variables. So that's going to be x to the power of 8. Here, you're dividing, and it's easier to understand these rules if you write one over the other. So that's x to the power of 4 over x to the power of 2. And you can just take away the power on the bottom from the top. So that's going to leave me with x to the power of 4 minus 2, which is just x to the power of 2. Here, you can write one on top of the other again. So that's 8x squared over 2x. First of all, let's deal with the coefficients. So 8 divided by 2 is going to be 4. So we got 4, and then this is x to the power of 1. So if you take that 1 away from the 2, that's just 4x. So 4x is your answer there. So that's how you interact them together. I have a few questions for you to try. Here are 6 questions. Pause the video and give these 6 a go. Okay, so remember what we learned. They need to be in the same family if we're adding or taking away. So here we're adding, and this is x squared and an x squared. So that's fine. We can interact them together. That's 8x squared. Here we're taking away. They're in the same family. Great, we can interact them together. So that's 3 minus 7 is minus 4x squared. Here you're taking away again, but they're not in the same family. X squared and x to the power of 4, they can't be interacted together. So that's as simplified as we can get them. Here we're multiplying. So you can always interact them together if they're multiplying. So first of all, deal with the coefficients. 3 by 7 is 21. Then we have x squared by x to the power of 4. Remember, you're adding the powers, so that's x to the power of 6. Here we're dividing, so it's easier if you write this one over the next. So that's 3x squared, or 3x to the power of 6 over 7x to the power of 4. So 3 over 7 can't be simplified. So that's just 3 over 7. Now the x, you can take away that 4 from the 6. You could say that's just x squared. So 3 over 7, x squared is your answer there. Here we're multiplying, so it's just 3 by the 7 to form 21. And then you're adding the powers of the 6 and the 4. So that's x to the power of 10. So that's just a quick lesson on the basics of how you interact these terms together, and hopefully that will help you in the next couple of lessons. That's all for lesson 1.1. Thanks for watching Cert Plus. I'll see you again at lesson 1.2.
If you like this video, you'll love our notes. You can get some for free in the link in the description of this video.